Hello and welcome to Music Appreciation. First, congratulations for surviving the first listening exam. There were a lot of really great scores, so well done. If you didn't do so hot, I will be allowing for makeups, but only for those that email me by the end of this week. You will be able to complete an additional assignment that will give you up to 30 points back for a maximum of 80. If you already have an 80 or above, good job, and your score is fine. Our focus today takes us to a small farming town near Parma, Italy, with a composer that began with next to nothing and became one of the most prolific and beloved composers of the Romantic era, Giuseppe Verdi. Verdi lived from 1813 to 1901 and grew up, as I mentioned, outside of Parma, Italy. At age 9, he began playing organ at the Church of St. Michele in Busseto, Italy, and began taking formal lessons with the Maestro di Cappella of St. Bartolomeo at age 12. The Maestro di Cappella translates to the Master of Singing and is the official title for an Italian choir director. At age 18, Verdi traveled to Milan with hopes of being admitted to the Milan Conservatory, but he was denied entry and began studying with the concertmaster at La Scala Opera Company instead. Funnily enough, the Milan Conservatory would later be named after Verdi as an homage to his popularity. Verdi returned to Busseto in 1836 to become the Maestro di Cappella at St. Bartolomeo, coming back as the prodigal son taking over for his former teacher. He only stayed at this post for a few years, however, returning to Milan in 1839 to pursue a career in opera. His first opera, Oberto Conte di San Bonifacio, premiered at La Scala in 1839. Following this premiere, Verdi would then supervise performances of operas for cities across Europe for the remainder of his life. Some notable performances and premieres include Nabucco, which premiered in 1842, Macbeth in 1847, Rigoletto in 1851, La Traviata in 1853, Aida in 1871, Otello in 1887, and his final opera, Falstaff, in 1893. I had the pleasure of performing in Falstaff in 2015 as Pistola, a follower in Falstaff's employ. In his final years, Verdi dedicated himself to the building of a hospital and retirement home for musicians known as the Casa di Riposo. Verdi is undoubtedly best known for his operas and his one major liturgical work, a requiem, or a mass for the dead. A requiem stems from the Catholic tradition, so the text is in Latin and serves to eulogize and lay the dead to rest. The impetus for writing Verdi's requiem initially was the death of beloved composer Giacomo Rossini. However, the immense scale of this work meant that it was not completed until another beloved Italian poet, Alessandro Manzoni, passed and the requiem was to be performed on the anniversary of his death. The requiem composed for Rossini was not premiered until September of 1988, a full 120 years after Rossini's death. The premiere of Verdi's Requiem in honor of Manzoni took place on May 22, 1874, at the Cathedral of San Marco in Milan, with a chorus of 120 singers and 100 instrumentalists. The performance took an intermission following the second movement, Dies Irae, or Day of Wrath, which would become the standard. The Dies Irae alone is 701 measures long and takes roughly 35 minutes to perform itself. Verdi only had 14 days to prepare singers, soloists, and the orchestra for the premiere. As Verdi revered singers and did not want them placed behind the orchestra, as is typical, they were placed alongside the orchestra for the premiere. The entire work is divided into 7 movements, though the Dies Irae itself has 9 subsections. The score is incredibly dramatic and has been heralded as opera masquerading as oratorio. Notable about the performance demands in the piece are its extremes in dynamics, with sections as loud as quadruple forte and as soft as quintuple piano. Also, the score calls for 4 trumpets to be placed antiphonally in the hall, performing as though from a great distance. I think of this moment as the representation of the angels coming to greet the departed with trumpets. I have performed Verdi's Requiem twice, and the music is gripping from start to finish and incredibly demanding on all of the performers. I had the privilege the second time of covering the bass solo, which is gorgeous and difficult. In total, Verdi composed 2 masses, including his Requiem, 2 motets, a setting of the Lord's Prayer, and 4 sacred pieces collectively referred to as Quattro Pezzi Sacri for choir, in addition to 26 operas, each known for their grandeur and difficulty to perform. For our listening considerations this week, we have 2 of the subsections from the Dies Irae movement. The first you will undoubtedly recognize, as it is used throughout so much of modern media. It is none other than the Dies Irae. The second will be another setting of the Lacrimosa text that we first saw with Mozart, but turned up to 11 in terms of drama and grandeur. Our documentary for this week is Defiant Requiem, which is on Vimeo, and the easiest way to find that is to go to the content tab and find it through the direct link. Otherwise, you have to go through a whole bunch of steps to get there. It is an awesome video and features my voice teacher actually as the tenor soloist in that, and is a really gripping story of how Verdi's Requiem was performed at the concentration camp Terezin as initially a protest movement by those that were imprisoned there, and then turned into the propaganda machine that Terezin became. And that's everything. I know this week is fall break, and I hope you are able to relax. That being said, our assignment schedule is going to remain the same, as it falls before the break starts and after it ends. So the lecture assignment is still due Tuesday, literacy assignment due Wednesday, and Verdi reflection is due Monday. Have a wonderful week. Take care of yourselves. Reach out if you have any questions or want to make up some points on your exam by Friday. I will see you next week. Have a good one.